Hi everyone, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you have had a super week, and I hope you're looking forward to a great weekend. Welcome Domenico, Elizabeth, Angel. Nice to see many of our members here. Nipa, Anna, Owan, good to see our subscribers. Students, this is an IELTS reading class, and we will be reading about the connection between the English and German language. Now, this is an academic IELTS reading passage, but this could easily be a general IELTS Section 3 reading passage also. So general IELTS students, Section 1, Section 2, the reading is a bit different from the academic. But Section 3 of the General IELTS is very, very similar to the reading passages of the academic. And for those students looking for those higher band scores in General IELTS, so like band 7, 8, 9, you should definitely practice some academic IELTS reading passages as well to help you get those high scores in your General Section 3. Welcome, Carolina, our chat moderator. It is fantastic to have you with us. Students, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS, and for more academic IELTS reading passages, videos, tips, strategies, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. This is our academic one here with the blue background. Click this big red button to get access to all of our reading materials, videos, audio materials, practice exams, lots more. Just hit that button that's above my head there at aehelp.com. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. We have been helping students around the world with IELTS for over a decade. And we've got lots of great success stories. We've got hundreds of students around the world that have succeeded with our course and our exams. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com. Again, it's that big red button there. So just click it for General IELTS students and you are good to go. And students, we have this code for you, Blazer9. For a 10% discount on the websites. There you go. We have apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. We have Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. And you can contact us with any questions. Don't be shy. My email, adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Okay? Myself or one of my fantastic colleagues will get back to you. Students, right now this is a reading class. It's for subscribers. It's good to subscribe to our channel. That's free for those of you who are working on a budget. And you can follow the classes, the schedules each week. We've got speaking part 2 for members tomorrow, and then opening up for speaking part 3 for everybody tomorrow after the speaking part 2 class. YouTube, always we post a new video each week. We are a fantastic team of IELTS experts and content developers, so we post lots of great content for you. There's that link for last week's video. All right, let's get into some reading. So here we go. Let's quickly just take a look at the reading passage today. This is one in development. This is one of our exams that we are currently, we developed and we're going to be releasing onto the websites. Let me just check and maximize the size here for those of you who are looking at this video from your mobile phones. I don't want to be the cause of eye problems. Everybody's squinting at their little screens. So let me just try to get it as big for you as possible. There, I think that's about it. I think if I keep going, it'll be off screen, right? So there you go. Sylviana says, look like that, like kind of squinting like that in that picture. All right, I think that's about as big as we can go. Okay, so German and English. Differences and similarities. All right. Clearly, two languages. Looking at compare, contrast. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about this. So before you start reading, the very, very first strategy, as I have told some of you many, many times before, is first read the title and gather knowledge from your brain as much as possible. Okay, let's be smart about it, right? German and English. All right, what do we know about German and English? So what do you know about German? What do you know about English? What do you know about their history? Let me hear it, okay? We should have some basic knowledge going into IELTS, like people should know, for example, that Spanish, Italian, French are all called Romantic languages. They're Latin-based languages. We should know that the English alphabet comes from the Arabic language. There are lots of words that come from Arabic. We should know that in China there are multiple dialects. The key one is Mandarin, then Cantonese. Cantonese is spoken more in the south. Mandarin is spoken more on mainland China. So not just Europe. So you might think, oh, well, sure, Adrian knows about Western languages. No, I know about Eastern languages. I know a little bit about African languages and so on as well. So it's basic, it's basic world knowledge, and you should have some basic world knowledge like that. So knowing about German and English is certainly a good concept. German and English are not really Latin-based languages. Okay, so English has some words in it from Latin-based languages because English was influenced in a big way by French, modern English. But how about German? Gopu says both are used for communication development very early. I don't know, Gopu. I bet you Hindi, Punjabi, they're probably just as old, if not older, than German and English. So languages developed around the world quite quickly. So, right? See, I know a little bit about Indian languages as well. Alexander says French is very important for Canada. French is very important for many different countries. They had quite a colonial adventure going on in the 1800s. Well, if you don't know, now you will know, English is a Germanic language. It basically means it originally comes from German. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but most English people, or most people in the UK, have German ancestry, or Prussian. The ancient Germans, right? Germans were always very fierce. So a long time ago, 1,400 years ago, I want to say, some of the tribes in Germany were not happy with some of the other tribes, and they chased them away, and they chased them as far as the island of Britain, or the islands of Britain. And then those Prussians went there, Bavarians, and they kind of pushed the Celta people out of the UK, and they took over, and they became the modern day British, believe it or not. So there you go. And they took the language with them. Here's a little bit of history for you, important history. Okay, so ancient German tribes migrated to the UK over 1,000 years ago. Well, not 100, 1,000 years ago. pushed out the local Celta or Celtic people, and took the language with them. Okay. Robert, the Roman language is called Latin. Romans spoke Latin, and English adopted Latin and French later on. Okay, so it's a mix. All right. Okay. So there's some interesting and important history. Now you're probably like, oh, why do I care? Like viewers are like, I'm leaving. I'm looking at the view count. I don't care about history. Some people don't. Some people do. Why is that important? Well, it is important because when you understand the origins of language, many words make a lot more sense. And today's reading will focus on that. So yeah, absolutely. It's good to know. Okay. Gurman says KK. All right. Gopu says some of the words and numbers are similar to German. Yeah, actually many of them are. So many words in English are similar to German. Absolutely. They have the same roots, right? Okay, so this is good to know. If you don't know this, well, I mean, the reading will be a bit more difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. If you know that German and English are related, then you'll know that this reading will be a bit easier because you have some knowledge. Differences, probably some words, some grammar, right? Okay, let's take a look at the questions. So the next strategy is looking at the questions, and when we look at the questions, it gives us a very good idea of what we can and what we cannot do, okay? So keep this in mind, everybody. So step 2, second, okay? So this is the first, right? Read the title, gather knowledge from your brain as much as possible. Now, if you get a passage about German and English, you'll be like, aha, I saw that. I know it. Okay, second, look at the questions. To get some more ideas and to know what you can and cannot do. All right, let me show you what I mean. Let me explain that to you. Okay. All right, here we go. So reading passage 3 has 7 paragraphs, A to G. Which paragraph contains the following information? By the way, everybody, this is reading, so make sure to read with me. And for those of you who can, read aloud so you can hear yourself. Okay. So 7 paragraphs. Okay, this information is all in the passage somewhere, all right? Because it's telling me that. It says, which paragraph contains the following information? Okay, so this information is contained in the passage. It will be in the passage. So I can read this, okay? This question type, I can read it before I read the passage because it's all there. I just have to figure out where, right? And then you write the correct letter in boxes 27 to 30 on the answer sheet. Okay. So here, what we want to do, and when you're practicing at home for this type of question is to paraphrase. So the development of English beyond its language antecedents. Okay. So this is equal to saying the evolution. Now you can... there's that word again. Evolution was in last class too, right? It means the development, the evolution. You can paraphrase. So try paraphrasing, members. Okay. All right. Okay, so the evolution of English past its language ancestors. Okay. So that would be like a paraphrase of the original. It's the same idea, but in a different way. Why? Because, well, in the passage, they won't write the same sentence. Okay? Okay, an example of English literature being similar to German in the past. Okay. A case where English writing is like that of German in previous years. Okay. So that's my paraphrase. All right. That's right, Nipa. They use synonyms in the reading. So when you think about different ways to say these sentences, you can think about those synonyms. And in the real IELTS, all you have to do is just do this in your head, right? So you do this in your head. But in practice at home, you do it on paper. Okay? Fuang says, an illustration of the English written language being like German back in the day. Very good, Fuang. Very good. Domenico says, yes, English is a German language, and the Romans who spoke Latin were confronted with a different and unfamiliar language when they encountered the Germanic tribes in England. Yeah, absolutely. Or in modern day England, in the United Kingdom. That's right. They're like, what are these people saying? Let's teach them Latin. And that was helpful because later when the French came, it wasn't that different anymore. So the English that were there were like, oh, we kind of know what you're saying, but not really. All right. Okay. So, keep going. Keep paraphrasing. A key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. So, an important difference in the words used for some types of food. Right? You don't have to overcomplicate it. So a key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods, an important difference in the words used for some types of food. Okay, good. Difficulties in English pronunciation. Okay, so challenges in forming the sounds of English words. Right? That would be a good way to paraphrase that. Okay. Chayani says, an important way to distinguish the name of certain cuisines and beverages. Yeah, sure, Chayani, why not? That works. Elizabeth, you're missing information in your paraphrase. The importance of different types of food is, no, it's the importance of language differences in some types of foods, right? So don't miss information when you're paraphrasing. Okay, now, we have some more ideas with this, right? So we know that this passage is going to talk about the history of the languages. We know they're going to give some examples of words, such as food, right? Talking about pronunciation in some part of it as well. This question, so matching, it's called matching information. It's a matching information type question. Okay, so when you are students on the website and you're in your My Student account, in the course, in the reading section, I believe it's this one here. So here's the paraphrasing quiz, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the question types. So we show you all of the different question types in the course. This is power reading. So let me just see. Maybe it's in the first one here. Yes, I think It's here. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. So you can see that there are 11 types of questions basically in the reading. So you have matching information. That's this one that we're looking at right now. Okay. And each question type gives you some specific information. So for those of you who have access to the premium course, definitely review all of the different types of questions, okay, in the course. Now, for this question type that we're looking at in the class, this matching questions, this one gives you a really important strategy or tip on what you should not do. Does anybody know what that is? So this question basically, like, it will signal like you should not do this, especially not for this passage. What do you think it is? What do you have to avoid for this passage? Okay, because you're going to waste a lot of time and you might run out of time and get the wrong answers altogether. So this type of question, matching paragraphs, that's why IELTS likes this type of question too. Sherpa says overreading. Yeah, I guess that's one way to say it, Sherpa. Yeah, exactly, Sylviana. Skimming. So skimming and scanning. Yeah, so skimming and scanning will not work for this. So, for example, if you look at the word antecedents, and some students might be like, oh, I'll just search for this word, right? You won't actually find it in the passage. So this word is not in the passage. I think the word language ancestor is in the passage instead. Okay? And if you start searching, you're going to waste a lot of time because question 27, the answer might come from like paragraph F. So you don't want to skim read all of this looking for the word antecedent to maybe find it here. That's a really bad strategy. Okay? So searching, skimming, and scanning for keywords for this question does not work. Okay? Everybody clear on that? So searching and skimming for keywords does not work for this type of question. You will waste time and get wrong answers. In fact, what they'll even do sometimes is they might include the word antecedent, but completely different, in a completely different place. Because IELTS doesn't want to give high scores to people who are just skimming and scanning. IELTS wants to give a score of 5.5 because that's not reading. It's not reading strategy. You can't use that in everyday life. You can't use that in university, okay? So they might purposefully put the word antecedent into a different paragraph just so you get that wrong. So they know that this person's skimming and scanning and they're not getting high scores. Okay. All right. Bilal says, when I read, I feel myself like I'm falling asleep. Why does that happen, everybody? So these are a couple of important points before we get into the reading here. Why do some people get lethargic? Sleepy while reading? Okay. Why? What do you think? Anita says, well, first of all, dehydration, poor sleep. Yes, absolutely. So physical reasons like not enough sleep, not enough water. So physical reasons. So, and dehydration means not enough water in the system. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely possible. And I highly recommend getting good sleep and taking water with you to the IELTS exam. Okay. And then there's mental reasons. Yeah, and the main one is, yeah, Sanish says, because they're bored, they're disinterested. Right? Okay, so how can we avoid that? How can we trick our brain into not getting bored? That's a very important question. Elizabeth says, read aloud. Okay. Pradeep, you can take a pen, pencil, eraser, and water with you to the exam. Pen, pencil, eraser, water. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Domenico says you're not including yourself. So the best way to avoid this is to include yourself and visualize. Okay. So include yourself, okay, and visualize. Okay. So that means you should be a part of it. How can you do that with this? So how could you do that with English and German? Okay. How can you do that with a title like English and German? It's not the easiest, right? These are languages. It's not like we're reading about volcanoes or about birds. Okay. So what can I do? Gurman says it's difficult to manage time. Gurman, spend 10 minutes on reading, 10 minutes on the questions. That's the simplest advice I can give you, and it's the best strategy. Okay. Angel says, I'm a native German or drawing a doodle. Okay, Domenico, how can I involve myself in this concept? Well, keep it simple, right? Okay, Karandeep says, I love you, sir. All right, Karandeep, I love you too. So you're a tourist in Germany speaking English to the locals. And you know what? I bet you that at least some of you, even if you don't know it yet, will one day visit Germany and you will be speaking English to the people there. And you're going to be like, whoa, that lesson many years ago, he was right. And all I needed to do was just picture myself being in Frankfurt, Hamburg, Munich, and checking out some of the famous places and visiting Germany, and then a German saying something like, Guten Morgen. I don't know how to spell it in German, but Guten Morgen, and you're like, that means, what do you think that means? So when a German says to you, Guten Morgen, what do you think that means? That means what? And you can reply even in English and they'll understand you. Guten Morgen. Yeah, it means good morning. Alexander says Morgen. Guten Morgen. Yeah. I've heard it said both ways, Alexander. Guten Morgen, Guten Morgen. Yep. Guten Morgen. How do you spell the Guten part, Alexander? It sounds like Morgen. Yeah, it means good morning, right? A lot of you know these. So now you're fired up, right? Now you're engaging the text. So this is called active reading, right? And you have to be an active reader. If you're an active reader, then you're not falling asleep, then you're not bored, okay? Active reading means that you actually engage the text. And when you're in university and you read your textbooks like this can save you so much time and energy, and you can do so much better on your exams. So I luckily studied psychology in university, so I learned about this early and I used it in my university studies. And some of my friends that were in other majors, I told them about it and they're like, oh man, thank you. I saved so much time. So yeah. Okay. So active reading. Once you're reading actively, even if you didn't have enough water and sleep, you'll do much better. You won't be as sleepy. Okay. So you won't feel as sleepy and you will remember what you read. Okay? Deep, deep. If you're not able to understand vocabulary, don't worry about it. Just keep reading. Okay? All right. Students, let's go back to the reading here and let's look at the next question. So the next questions here are filling in the blanks and true, false, not given. Okie dokie. This is all in the text, so we're going to read it. Read it with me. So, two languages split into by another. German and English have a common ancestor known as Proto-Germanic. This language was spoken by people in Europe thousands of years ago. Because of this, English and German are considered something languages. However, there are also differences between the two languages despite their common heritage. Though the English of 1,500 years ago was similar to German, the French-speaking Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 something the English language. All of a sudden, French words flooded into the country and its people's speech. This French influence is the source of the divergence between words like cow and beef. However, one word that did not follow this trend was, since its French equivalent looked like a negative-sounding English word. While the French influence on English is clear, most of the most common words in English are still Germanic. Many words are even spoken similarly, that is, something is roughly the same. Word order is one point of difference for German and English. A key aspect of German is that verb always goes second. Conversely, in English, the verb can go almost somewhere. Okay. True, false, not given. Forget about it. We just look at that after the reading because it can be very confusing. We don't know what's given. We don't know what's false. So leave it. Leave it, leave it, leave it. Okay, everybody. We are going to read this with volunteers today. So I want to spend more time on the questions. So we're going to read this with volunteers. Okay, and this will be fun because it's going to be interactive. You're going to do the reading passage with my help. Okay, so how do you do this? That's a good question. Let's get you into it. So here we go, volunteering for reading. Okay, first of all, you need an account. Okay, so whether it's paid or free, you need an account. Carolina has put the instructions for us into the chat, so you can do that. I just put the URL in there again. So you go to the website, and you go to aehelp.com, okay? And then you go to your My Student account. In your My Student account, you will find lots and lots of tools, computer-based practice exams, interactive course, lesson books and plans, exams, videos. And you will also find this student partner speaking right there. Click on it. Accept that you are responsible. You're 18. You will be polite and you will use this for IELTS purpose. And then you are in this chat interface. This is video, text, audio, chat built into the website. And then you can volunteer by finding me. You will see me here as Master. Easily recognizable. And then you will be able to send me a message. Just message me saying, I want to volunteer, or I'd like to read. And then we'll go from there. Okay, I know that Chayani has not had a chance in the last few classes, so let's start off with Chayani, and I'll be looking for lots of new volunteers as well. Riyadh, I see you in there. Constellation, yes. Lynette, very nice. Stay in there, everybody. I need lots of volunteers. Chayani, are you ready? Okay. Hunks, we have a great video for list of headings on the YouTube channel. Check it out. Subscribe, search for list of headings, find that video. You'll love it. Okay, Chayani's ready.
Hey, Adrian.
Hello, Chayani. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I am doing very busy and very good. Thank you for asking. All right, Chayani, let's do this. Let's start it off. Everybody read with Chayani. So Chayani, I'm going to bring up paragraph A for you here, which of course is what paragraph? So what is paragraph A? Paragraph A is always what?
Okay.
What do we call what do we call paragraph A, Chayani, before you start reading? It's the
introduction.
That's right. Why is that important? Just can you tell everybody why that's important to know?
I think introduction, it is very necessary because it is the root before we going to the entire paragraph.
Yeah, it's the overview of the, not paragraph, but the passage, right? So it's the overview.
Oh, okay, passage.
Yeah, it's the overview of the passage. And it includes one particularly important sentence. What's that sentence?
I'm sorry, sir?
So the introduction includes one particularly important sentence or sentences. What is that?
The main sentences.
What is that called, that main sentence in the introduction? Starts with a th sound.
Thesis?
Yeah, that's right. It's the thesis, right? It's super important, everybody, to pay attention to that thesis statement, okay? This is an important tip, everyone, and trying to keep this in mind. When you do your IELTS exam, you have to keep that thesis statement in mind because when you recognize the thesis statement in each passage, it can really help you to understand what's happening and where it's happening, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right, Chayani, whenever you're ready, go from the title from German and then read to the end of paragraph A.
Okay, sir. Wait, there is an advertisement, sorry.
Oh, that's not me, that's Google.
Okay. Okay, German and English, differences and similarities. German and English share a common ancestral language, known today as Proto-Germanic, which was spoken by Western European peoples thousands of years ago. Just as people who share a common ancestor are related, languages that share a common ancestor are also related. English and German are siblings language. They are each descendants from Proto-Germanic, and therefore also share a number of linguistic features. However, the languages have also differed significantly over the centuries, and today they have many notable differences in addition to their ancestral similarities.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. All right, repeat after me, Chani. Ancestor.
Ancestor.
Okay, good. Chayani, what's the main idea of this paragraph? Very simple words.
The relation between German and English.
Okay, can you say it like the paragraph, just in really simple words? English and German are?
English and German are common for ancestral language.
Are sibling languages, right?
German and English are sibling languages.
That's the main idea of this introduction. So I really want to teach everybody on how to understand introductions, okay? So in the introduction, you will have the main idea that is going to be identifiable in a phrase, okay? So English and German are sibling languages. It's really important to understand that concept from this introduction. Okay, now, according to this introduction, what is the thesis? Or well, it's kind of two sentences here, Chani, but what are the thesis statements here?
I think the thesis statement it is located in the last sentence.
It's actually the last two sentences. Can you read it?
They are rich descendants from Proto-Germanic and therefore also share a number of linguistic features.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think the author will write about first in the body paragraphs?
The author, I think there's there is okay, I'm confused.
They will write about probably the similarities first, right? So when the
Yes.
author says that they share a number of linguistic features, right, then I can assume as the reader that this author in the next couple of body paragraphs will explain to me the similarities, which makes sense. It makes sense to talk about the similarities first, right? Because they were same first, historically as well, right? Time-wise as well. They were more similar earlier. Later, as time progressed, they became different. And so the author tells me that. The author says, look, after I tell you about the similarities, I'm going to tell you about the differences. Okay, so they have many notable differences. So those are the two main points of this author's thesis. Okay, and when I have that, and if I'm in the IELTS and I see that, I can even create on my note paper a very useful diagram that can help me. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see
Right?
that.
So this diagram will look like this. Okay, so similarities and differences, and then I will have English and German, right? And then here I can note the similarities just in point form, the differences and similarities and differences, right? At least have a 2-column similarities and differences list, right? And that can really help you. Save you a lot of time. You can just not jot down a couple of words while you're reading and that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the differences between the time and also location that you taught in the earlier class talk about the touch screen, right, sir?
Yeah, that's right. So exactly. So here, you keep it clear and simple, right? And IELTS will often have a passage in the academic where they're comparing 2 or 3 different pieces of knowledge, in this case, English and German. Okay, so Chani, good reading, and thank you for opening up this reading passage for us. Remember, everybody, the introduction is very, very important. Spending a little bit of extra time on the introduction can really help you. If you don't know what's going on when you read the introduction, okay, so Chani, let's say that you just read the introduction and you're like, what's going on? I have no idea. What do you think you should do?
Visualize.
You should visualize and you should read it again. So don't just keep reading, okay? Continuing reading without really trying to understand the introduction is a bad idea. If you don't understand the introduction, it's like you didn't see the first 5 minutes of a movie. You probably will have no idea what's going on, right? Chayani, if you're watching a movie with your family and you miss the first 5 minutes, what do you usually do?
Replay back.
Exactly,
Refresh.
right? You rewind. You tell everybody, hey, guys, I'm sorry, but can we just watch the beginning again so I know what's going on, right? You don't just stay there and keep watching and go, hey, yeah, that's pretty weird. Who's that again? What are they talking about? So, right, so you rewind and you watch it again, right? That's what you need to do in the
It's not
IELTS.
fair.
It doesn't make sense, right? It
Yes.
doesn't make sense to watch 2 hours of a movie while you miss the first 10 minutes where they set up all the characters and everybody, right? Same thing with the IELTS, same thing with reading. Don't just keep reading the body paragraphs where you're like, I have no idea what I'm reading about, right? It's nonsense, okay? So introduction,
Okay,
very
sir.
important. Thanks, Chayani.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry I'm flying first, so it is my dope.
You're doing great. Don't apologize. You're doing great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye,
Have a nice
Chani.
day.
All right, that was Chani. All right, let's try somebody else. Here we go. Let's go for Constellation. Constellation. Are you ready? Try somebody new. But hang in there, everybody. We've got lots of paragraph, lots of questions. Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody, for Chani. So Constellation, help me out with a bit of reading here. Okay, good. We'll really get moving now. Here we go. Hi, Constellation.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am doing great. Can you help me with the pronunciation of your name?
Oh, actually, you can pronounce my name like Constellation because I just kind of trick the word so that I can give it as my nickname.
I see constellation, like the stars, like astrology. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Let's do this. So constellation. Can you read body paragraph B for us? So whenever you're ready, you'll see it, and then just go ahead and start reading.
Yeah. To understand the similarities and differences between the two languages, a historical background is necessary. Old English, which was spoken from approximately 450 to uh, oh, I don't know how to say
1150.
1150 CE, was very close to the German language of the period, but the Norman conquest of Britain in 1066 led to many linguistic changes. This is because the Normans were a French-speaking people, so they brought many Spanish words into the English language. And because French is a language that comes from Latin, many Latin words also came into the English language. In English, for example, the word cow comes from the Proto-Germanic word "q", while the food obtained from cows, known in English as beef, comes from the French word "bœuf". This Germanic-French distinction is also the reason why pig meat is called pork, sheep meat is called mutton, and deer meat is known as venison. Each of the animal names of the Germanic, can you scroll down? Okay, of Germanic origin, while the third term comes from French. One exception is the English word fish, which refers to both the animal and the food. This could be due to the French word for fish, poison, being very similar to the English word poison, the name for a substance which can sicken or even kill.
Okay, great. So when you read in the IELTS, you should always ask yourself a question, right? When you read a paragraph like this, summarize it in your head. So this is a very important tip or trick for the IELTS exam, and it's good for any reading that you're doing in university as well. You read a paragraph and then you summarize that paragraph. Lovely. Yes. Absolutely. That is it. 100%. OBS is having an issue, but yeah, okay, we're good. Constellation. Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. That's the exact answer I was looking for. So the French influence on the English language roughly 900 years ago or 850 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. And then a little bit more here. So what does the author use to represent this influence?
I think that they explain some example.
With food, right?
Yeah, with food.
Okay, good. So here, remember what I said if you were in the class earlier? I said you have to be an active reader. So you have to be involved. And remember what I gave as the example? So if I were reading this passage, I would imagine that I'm an English tourist in Germany, in Munich or in Frankfurt somewhere, right? So when I'm reading this passage, I can imagine myself sitting at a German restaurant and explaining what kind of food I want to eat. Now, if I'm in Germany and I'm at a German restaurant and I want to eat some beef, if I say I want to eat beef, will they understand me?
Oh, I don't think so.
No, because it's more of a French word, right?
Yeah.
So what should I say to that person in the restaurant? Instead of beef, I should say...
Oh, boo if I don't know how to.
No, because that's French. I should say cow, right? Because it's something like coo, right? So they'll understand the animal. Coo, I want to eat coo, cow. And they'll be like, oh, okay, cow, you want to eat beef. So you want to eat a steak? Sure. So they'll understand the word cow much more likely than the word beef, right? And that way you can remember that paragraph B is about this information. So Constellation, good reading. Thank you so much for helping me out. Hang in there. We'll get to the next paragraphs and the questions, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good reading. Oh, Constellation, before you go, don't go yet. Just a quick tip for your IELTS exam. When you're reading, of course, you're reading silently. Don't worry about the pronunciation too much. Just read smoothly. Don't get stuck on words, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, that's very important because you don't want to break your thinking. So even if you can't pronounce the years or one or two words, just read through them. Just move through them, okay?
Yep, sir.
All right. Okay, Constellation, we'll talk again soon, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Bye, sir.
Bye. All right. Students, I'm just going to refresh my page here to relink to the chat because I think I had an internet interruption there. So I have to shift refresh, but do the same. And I will see all of you come online here. I believe Riyadh, you volunteered, so keep volunteering. I'm going to do the next paragraph with Riyadh here, our premium member. Hi, Riyadh, are you ready? Okay, and we'll keep going. Good job, Constellation. Yeah, students, a good tip there for everybody who has difficulty with some words. Don't worry about pronouncing them even in your inner voice. Just read through them, okay? All right, Riyadh says, let's try. Hi, Riyadh.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you, sir?
I am also doing fantastic. Riyadh, do you speak any German?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, no worries. I don't either. I used to a little bit, but I forgot. It was many years ago. Okay, Riyadh, let's do a bit of reading. So can you read paragraph C for me?
Yes,
whenever
sir.
you're ready?
Yes, I'm ready, sir.
Go for it.
Even with the French influence, however, 80 of the 100 most common words in English are Germanic in origin. For example, the phrase "I have" is "ich habe." The phrase "it is long" is "ich it's long," and the phrase "where is it" is "o" ist das. All of these words are clearly related. Other words are identical, although sometimes with different pronunciations. For example, the words baby, doctor, energy, machine, object, original, and school are virtually identical in either spelling, pronunciation, or both.
Okay, real quickly, what's this paragraph about?
I think it's about some kinds of example in.
Keep it simple, Riyadh. Keep it simple. Look at this very first sentence. Now, remember, in body paragraphs, the first sentence is the topic sentence, so that will often give you the answer to the question. What is it about?
I think it's about some word related variety.
Most, right? It's not just some. It's actually most. So the topic sentence says, like, even though English has French words and Latin words and some other words, it has Arabic words as well. Most of the words, especially the everyday words of English, is still from that Proto-German, that Germanic. It says 80 of the 100 most common words. So you can kind of speak English to a German speaker and they can kind of understand you if you really pay attention to each other, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what this paragraph is saying, is like the most common words like school, energy, doctor. Like if you're in Germany and you're in trouble and you yell, "I need a doctor," even someone who doesn't really speak English can probably understand that you're in trouble and you need a doctor. Okay, let's do one more. That was a short paragraph. So read paragraph D for me as well.
I can't understand the first couple of sentences, like it's long is.
Because it's giving you the translations. So it says, for example, the phrase I have is ich habe, which is the German. So ich habe is the German for I have. It is long. The German is es ist long. That's why it's in italic. It's giving you that translation. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny to think, right? Like what? Like IELTS would have like a German word in it, even though it's an English exam. Yeah, of course, because it's academic and it's testing your ability to use English to understand information. Okay? All right.
Yes.
So, okay, let's do D. Riyadh, read D for me.
Yes. Yeah, yes. One of the key differences between German and English is in the structuring of sentences. While both English and German have certain rules for word order, these rules are very different. For example, in German, the conjugated verb is always second in the sentence, often travel I. English has no such requirement. Verbs can go first, running through the words, second, I run through the words, or last, through the woods I run. However, German sentence word order is also fair in certain ways. Interestingly, this aspect of German is often compared to Shakespearean English. It is not a coincidence. In Shakespeare's time, around the year 1600 CE, English was still translating from Middle English to Modern English. Word order reflected the language's Germanic heritage. Today, this connection has faded, and Shakespeare's works, which are taught to school-aged children across the English-speaking world, seem almost foreign.
Okay, good. What is this paragraph about? In a simple way.
Some example about English and German.
Not so much. Anybody in the chat? Can you help Riyadh here? Riyadh, take another stab at it. Take another guess. What's the main? Again, remember the topic sentence. The first one or two sentences. The topic sentence.
Sir, I think that is the answer in first couple of sentences. While both English and German have certain rules for few words, these rules are very different. Two kinds of rules in German and English.
Too much. Slow down, a little bit less. So yeah, topic sentence. One of the key differences between German and English is the structuring of sentences. What do we call the structuring of sentences? What's the word, Riyadh? The structure of sentences is called grammar, right? The way you structure.
Grammar.
So in a simple way, this paragraph says grammar is different in English and French, or sorry, English and German, right? Grammar is different in English and German.
Grammar, yeah.
That's what it's, and then it gives us the example and it tells us the history of how that changed through the Middle English ages, through the 1600s, right? But it basically says grammar. So Riyadh, what I want you to do when you're practicing, because I can tell you're having a bit of difficulty with this, is really pay attention to the main idea of each paragraph. You have to understand that quickly and clearly to be able to answer the questions well. Okay, because when you get to the questions and even like the true, false, not given, or which paragraph has this information, you need to know what the main idea of each paragraph is so you know where to search. If you're just searching randomly, skimming and scanning for keywords, it will take way too much time and you're going to run out of time because you're going to search all over the passage and you're going to do it again and again, and that's not effective. So you have to know where to look for the information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, sir. Sir, may I ask one question?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Sir, I cannot be a member of YouTube. I try a couple of times, but I can't.
Okay.
How can I?
That can be for many different reasons. So, for example, Apple doesn't work all that well on YouTube. I know that they have issues, and there's a couple of other reasons why that can happen. So, the best is send me an email or send us an email. We have basically a template where we can tell you all of the different steps you can try. Like, for example, for Apple users, there's a special link that they can use to get into YouTube and become a member. And it's nothing to do with us. It just has to do with Google and their relationship with Apple and Microsoft and Android and all of that. So send us an email and we'll send you back a reply and give you some troubleshooting tips.
Yeah,
Okay?
definitely, sir.
All right.
My friend, one of my good friend, he stayed last 6 months ago and he go to German.
Yeah.
He,
Okay. All right. So try that. Send an email and then I will respond in a second. Okay?
okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Riyadh. We'll talk again shortly. Okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. That was Riyadh. Let's give him a thumbs up. Okay. Let's take somebody else for the next paragraph here. Let's look for somebody who we haven't spoken to yet. Let's see if Golda's available. Okay, here we go. Golda, are you ready? Okay. Golda says yes. Hi, Golda. I hear that you picked up, but I don't hear you. I'm not sure if you've set up correctly here. Golda, let me try somebody else. Check your settings. Make sure you've enabled the microphone, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right. Let's try Lynette. Lynette, are you ready? Okay, Lynette says yes. Check your system, everybody. You can check with others. Okay. Hello, Lynette.
Hello.
Hi, Lynette. How are you?
Oh, so good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks as well. Lynette, where are you calling from?
So I'm from Ukraine, actually. I have just another name, so it's a nickname.
Okay, cool. All right, Lynette. So you are in the Ukraine, and why are you taking the IELTS?
So actually now I'm in Norway. That's why I want to enter the university next year, and I really need IELTS. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And IELTS is good to have for many reasons. University in Norway is a good one for sure. Okay, let's do this. So we're into paragraph E. Whenever you're ready, start with paragraph E.
Okay. One notable difference between the languages is that all nouns in German are capitalized, while only proper nouns are capitalized in English, names and places primarily. In this sense, German is simpler. But German also has more cases than English. For example, German words can have 3 genders: masculine, feminine, and neuter. In general, English does not have this. While there are some words such as bachelor and bachelorette, which denote gender, almost every English noun belongs to a neuter, non-gendered class of words. This is particularly notable, since the two ancestral languages of modern English, German and French, both observe gender when naming nouns. This is an example of English evolving past both languages. While the influence of each language on English is marked, English has also had centuries of its own development, and one of its changes has involved losing its cases, such as gendered nouns. For English learners, this makes mastering the language easier.
What is this paragraph about?
At first about genders, right? Because we have so it explains the difference. Classes, Um,
Okay, when you're answering, this is for everybody. So when you're answering the question of what is this paragraph about, in most cases, in 95% of cases, you should be able to answer that question with a simple sentence of 6 to 10 words. Okay, it's very, very important. So yes, this paragraph introduces the complexities of gender-related words in French and in German compared to the simpler non-gender words of English. And when we think about that, what is the author basically telling us? Now, in this case, it's a little bit trickier because it's the key concept is not actually at the beginning of the paragraph, but it's more towards the end, the topic sentence. And in advanced writing, the topic sentence isn't always at the start of a body paragraph. It's sometimes later on. In this case, it's a little bit later on. What is the topic? So what is this paragraph basically telling the reader about English?
So yeah, let's say that how do we use the language and based on gender, like this? Probably.
Okay, I just highlighted a sentence for you. Can you read
I
it?
see. This is an example of English evolving past both languages.
Right? So that's the message the author is giving us here, that you have German, you have French, but you also have English. And English isn't simply a product of these two languages, but it is a language of its own. So English has quote unquote grown up to be its own language. It's not just it's originally a child of French and German especially. So we could call German its mother and French its father, but now it's its own person, right? It's its own language. Okay, read paragraph F for me as well, please.
Okay. Another aspect of English, however, is very difficult. Unlike German, which is mostly a phonetic language, meaning that letters directly correspond to sounds, English is often hopelessly not phonetic. Take the pair of words paid and sad. By their appearance, these words should rhyme. Unfortunately, they are not even close. German, conversely, is much close to the one-to-one correspondence between letters and sounds which many English learners are accustomed to. English learners must instead learn an extraordinary number of exceptions, which greatly complicates the language learning process.
Right, and you speak, of course, Ukrainian, so you know this because Ukrainian is also a phonetic language. So in Ukrainian, you have the corresponding letters to sounds, right?
Yeah.
And it makes English very confusing and tricky when you have paid and said, which sound like, they both A-I-D. What's going on? Why don't you pronounce A-I-D, A-I-D? Why do you have this, right? So it's weird. So here, again, what is this paragraph about?
So, just give me a second. So it's about the phonetics and about the difference between this.
That's it.
That's between, it. German and English.
It's about the phonetics, the difference of phonetics. So keep it simple. It's about the difference of phonetics. English, non-phonetic, German, phonetic. That's it. Okay.
Right.
So simplify. All right. Good. Let's stop there for now. We'll keep going. Okay. We'll look at some questions. Thank you so much, Lynette. Keep practicing. Keep coming back, and we'll help you get into that university in Norway. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Lynette. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
All right, everybody. I have to refresh my page here again. I'm disconnected from the server, so I'm reconnecting here. Okay, students, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into it a little bit and read the conclusion for you. So just read with me, and then I'll take a couple volunteers for questions, okay? All right, here we go, everybody. So let's do this. Let's read the conclusion together. Volunteers, hang in there. I've refreshed the page. Volunteer again, and I'll come back to you for some of these questions. So here we go. German and English are like distant cousins. They share an ancestor and share many similarities, but they also have many differences. French influence on English in the 11th century and onwards transformed the language, and the years since have only widened the gap between German and English. Yet, they also maintain a number of similarities, and after diverging millennia ago, there is still no major language closer to English than German. All right, so here the conclusion wraps it all up in a nice package, right? It says German and English are like cousins. They used to be the same. Then they were kind of like brother, sister. Now they're more like cousins. There's more and more differences. But at the end of the day, they're still the closest relatives they have to each other, right? So English and German. Okay. So let's take some volunteers to solve a few of these questions. Let's see if we can get someone to help us out here. Anahita is very ambitious. Let's see if Anahita can help us out. Anahita, are you ready? Okay. If you're there, Anahita, let me know. And thanks for the thumbs up for Lynette, everybody. Yeah, it's good to support each other. Okay, Anahita, if you're there, do let me know and we'll give this a shot. Anahita, I'm not sure what's going on. We've got lots of ringing, but no answer. So okay, let's try Alexander. Well, Anahita's calling me. Oh, okay, Anahita, let's see if I can. Hi, Anahita.
Hi, how are you, sir?
I am doing good, Anahita. How are you?
I'm also doing well, sir.
Were you not able to pick up when I called you?
Because I tried to click on the green button a lot. I did that, but it didn't work. I don't know why.
Okay. Were you using a phone?
No, a computer.
Okay. Apple or?
Chromebook.
Chromebook. Okay. All right. Should work. Okay. Let's jump into some questions, Anahita. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're into the matching information to paragraphs, right? Okay, go ahead and read 27 for me when you see it up on the screen, the one that I just highlighted in purple.
An example of English literature begins similar to...
That's 28, 27, just above that.
Okay. The development of English beyond its language antecedents, the evolution of English past its language ancestors.
Okay, that's my paraphrase, right? So the original question is the development of English beyond its language antecedents. What is the antecedents of English? So which languages kind of come before English and combine to English?
The origin of English was German, but then after the conquest by British people, the French language also influenced.
Yeah, so German and French are the antecedents, absolutely. And then English developed past that, right? Which paragraph is that? So which paragraph are we looking for here?
After the introduction, after the similarities and differences, so it should be paragraph D or E, I think.
Yeah, you're right. So it's the one that came later. It's the one that Lynette, I believe, read for us, where it was about how English is its own adult language now, right? We talked about this. It was like German was the mother, French was the father, and now we have this grown-up language, English, right? And it was talking about the genders, right? So the gender evolution of English beyond the genders. So I know that it's somewhere like D, E, F, something like that, right? Okay. So let's jump back to E here. I feel that's kind of where it's going to be. Here, but German also has more cases than English. For example, German words can have 3 genders: masculine, feminine, neuter, right?
Yes.
Okay, that I think is the right one. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, right? We even highlighted that part. That's the answer. This is an example of English evolving past both languages, right? Yeah. So that's why it's going to be E. Now, here, it's a great example of why skimming and scanning would not be a good idea, because just imagine you're in the IELTS exam and you actually have to find that information by skimming and scanning. It would be really difficult. Would you agree?
Yeah, it would be very difficult.
Right? We could waste a lot of time if you're trying to do that. So not a good idea. Anahita, read 28 for me.
An example of English literature being similar to German in the past. It should be paragraph.
Okay, before you tell me, what is the English literature that we're talking about here?
The grammar.
It's some kind of English writing, and it's an example. So it's very specific English writing that it talks about. It's a very famous English writer, I think even in many other countries.
Shakespeare.
That's right. So keep it simple, Anahita. Here we're talking about Shakespeare, right? The example of English literature, there's really only one in the whole passage. It's Shakespearean. And now it's really easy to search for that name because Shakespearean is going to be a capital S. It's a long word. I can find it, right?
Yes, I think it should be the second from the down.
Okay. I can, just by skimming there, I can see it right there. So it's paragraph D, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so an easy one to find. So keep it simple. I think sometimes, what happens is everybody overcomplicates these. Okay, so D it is. All right. This one's going to be really fast, but let's do it together. Number 29. Can you read that one?
A key linguistic distinction in the naming of certain foods. An important difference in words used for some types of food. I forgot the paragraphs.
Which one do you think it is? Is it beginning, middle, or end?
It's in the middle, I think.
Not quite, but at least you're searching for foods, right? You're looking for like fish or beef or something like that. So a lot of people in the chat are getting it right. So Marola and Elizabeth and Fuang said it's in the beginning. Yeah, this was in the beginning. I believe it's paragraph B. It was about fish and beef and pork, and I can look for those. So as long as you know what you're looking for, as long as you know that you're looking for like words like pork, pig meat, then you can find it quickly. Okay, so this was in B. So the important point here, and I think everybody gets it now, right, Anahita, is that the reason you have to read the passage is even if you're skimming and scanning, it's way more effective when you actually read the passage and you know where the information is. Okay. Right? Okay. So when you read the passage the first time, everybody, Anahita, when you're reading the passage, it's okay if you don't understand every word or every sentence, as long as you understand the main ideas. If you understand the main ideas of each paragraph, then you can find the answer a lot faster. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anahita, thank you so much for volunteering.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, everybody. So that's the key here. Does everybody see that? So does everybody understand how, by understanding main ideas, we can really quickly identify where the information is. And when we see the question, then we're much, much more effective and confident in our answers. Yes, everybody gets that? Anahita did a good job there. Okay, so here we have a paragraph completion type question, and unfortunately I've run out of time to go into details on this, same with the true, false, not given. But you can look into these and answer these questions on your own. Okay, and what I will do is I will give you the answer key. So send me answers. Here you have the choices for this one. This video is recorded, so you will see this at this point in the video near the end. And you can send me the answers to my email. I will show you that very, very quickly here. Okay, let me just go back to our website here. Just a second. So you can send that to me to this email address here at aehelp.com and Adrian at aehelp.com, admin at aehelp.com, and I will give you the answer key. Take away the most important points from this lesson. Skimming and scanning is only effective when you have a good concept or idea of each of the paragraphs in the passage. Okay, it should not be your only strategy. You should not try to do that from the beginning. It will not save you time. It will waste time. Okay, for lots more really effective strategies, definitely check out and visit our website, aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. We have practice exams for you. and lots more. Our strategies are developed by professionals, by psychologists like myself. They're not just copied and repeated at random without being actually tested and without being effective in real learning. So learn these on the websites. Thank you so much to all of my volunteers today. Carolina, thank you so much for managing the chat. I look forward to getting those reading answers from you. So don't give up. The reading is there. The questions are there. You have all the tools now to answer those questions. And for the true, false, not given, if you're not sure what to do, there's a true, false, not given strategy video on the channel. You can check that out before you do the true, false, not given questions. I actually highly recommend that, okay? All right, everybody, I will be back tomorrow with speaking part 2, speaking part 3, and using the chat that we used for the reading today, we will get into the speaking and we'll do some speaking practice with students in the real speaking sense, so verbally. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria for now, but I will be back tomorrow at the same times for those speaking part 2 and part 3 classes. I hope to see you then. Bye for now.